Our next guest in a long line of entrepreneurs, maybe the best guest ever, we'll put some pressure on, is Jessica Kelly from Sherin Lodgen, the law firm in Boston, Massachusetts, correct?
Yes.
Well, welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Why don't you give us a little bit of background on Sherin Lodgen and what your practice is?
Sure. So Sherin Lodgen, I've been there for 7 years, and it is a medium-sized law firm in downtown Boston. We only have one office, and we're about 40 lawyers. And so we handle our three sort of main areas of practice are litigation, which I'm a part of, and real estate and corporate. And within the litigation department itself, it's sort of a very broad practice group, but I think generally it can be described as complex business litigation, complex commercial disputes, and that entails everything from the life cycle of a business.
Are they all complex, and that's a marketing term?
I wouldn't say they're all complex. So some of them are on the more simpler side. We have some, breach of contract cases, which can be
But
sort
once
of
people get involved, doesn't it always, and their emotions get involved,
Exactly.
Isn't that what complicates it?
Exactly. All litigation, when you boil it down, is people. It may be two companies suing each other, but it's the people behind those companies that are involved, and there's emotions and there's principles, and yes. So even the simplest cases do end up being complex at some point.
So is most of your work, unlike an estate attorney, is it most of it transactional?
Well, the litigation piece is a lot of times results out of a transaction gone bad. Mm-hmm. As I was going to say, there's sort of this life cycle of a business. There's the start of the business where you can have, especially in this area where there's so much startup and technology industry, trade secret issues, employee issues, non-compete issues, those kind of things that all come up when, say, a company or employees leave one company and go start a new company. Those issues arise. There's the general operational issues that come up in day to day, whether you're selling something and there's a dispute with a vendor, there's disputes with insurance, your company has suffered a loss, and there's dispute with the insurance company over coverage for something, or if you're a property owner, what can you do with your property, whether there's environmental restrictions or permitting restrictions. There's all sorts of these issues. So usually the litigation results out of something going wrong in the transaction, whatever that may be below.
Well, what makes Sherin Lodgen a unique firm? Is there a unique selling proposition versus other firms? Because it's a very competitive marketplace.
Yes, and I think our advantage is that we have a long line of very experienced and talented lawyers that a lot of them have come from a big firm at one point. I'm sort of the exception as I came right out of clerking, but most of our lawyers once worked at a big firm. So we have a lot of a big firm experience, but the firm itself is smaller scale, and we can offer a lot of competitive rates for clients who can't afford the big firm rates or are sort of sick of paying for those big firm rates. Right. So we still offer the same value and service and experience that clients can get at the big firms, but at a much more competitive rate.
Do you think there are common mistakes that clients make that trip them into litigation?
I think a lot of things I've seen result because people sort of operate on a relationship as opposed to a written agreement, and at some point that relationship goes bad and there's a misunderstanding that results in bad feelings and people losing money or losing some kind of opportunity, and that results in
document your relationship up front.
Yes, that's one way to avoid it, and also having guidance, whether legal or otherwise, at the beginning of any kind of transaction where there's some risk, to help you avoid disputes further down the road, I think is one way to help.